Hey, do you want some laundry hacks for your Airbnb? I know. If you run an Airbnb and you have linens that you have to wash and towels and all that stuff, you're going to want some laundry hacks. All right. And if you're a house cleaner and you do the turnover service, you're also going to want these laundry hacks. Yay! We found an expert to join us today, and this is Vanessa Higgins with Clean Tu Casa. Now, Clean Tu Casa is a multilingual cleaning company, and it's also multifaceted. And so they have house cleaning and they have office cleaning, and they specialize in Airbnbs, which is so exciting for me because we have lots of questions about how do you get in to do the turnover service, and you got to do all the laundry and then put everything back and restock everything and then get out before the next guests come in. So joining us today, please help me welcome Vanessa Higgins.
All right. Hi there, Angela. Thanks for having me on. We're looking forward to give some guidance on Airbnbs, what we have learned. My name is Vanessa. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, starting a cleaning company over 2 years ago with Clean Tu Casa, focusing on residential office, but always knew that I always wanted to get into Airbnbs just because I know the growth of it, the demand, and the fact that not many people really like doing Airbnbs. Here I am today to offer any kind of guidance we have learned along the way.
We got a question about laundry because laundry seems to be a really big issue when it comes to the Airbnbs, and the house cleaners get in there, they're racing around, they're trying to change the linens out. What is your advice for making that happen on a timely manner?
My team always enjoys this part because you can find towels that are being used for makeup removal, for food, for wiping up spills because they may not be able to find a mop nearby. So, with those stubborn stains, there's a couple of things I make sure that our team and then anyone that may be doing laundry to offer them. First off, time is always a consideration. So, you're trying to uphold quality, but also try to be as efficient on your timing as well. So I always recommend to do a rapid cycle or a quick cycle on hot. Hopefully your Airbnb host is having all white linens, which is always recommended because that just makes it a more crisp and fresh look if you're able to keep them bright and white. There is a way to keep them bright and white. If you put them on a quick wash and you allow them to either soak in OxiClean, I've noticed is the best. Some others like to use borax or I think it's called White Bride bleach. Those are also effective, but I have not seen as effective as just plain old OxiClean is. So if you throw in OxiClean along with your detergent, allow it, if you have the luxury of time to allow it to soak for an hour, great. If you don't, I recommend the spray of OxiClean. Spray that on and allow it to soak in for a couple of minutes before you run that fast wash. And within 30 minutes, do the actual washing. Don't fill it up too much because you want to make sure that all of those fibers are getting touched and cleaned thoroughly, and because you don't want it to be overstuffed. And then on the drying end, I always recommend to the team to, once they pull it out of the washing machine, give it a great shake, one or two shakes, just get all that frustration out into those shakes, and then throw it into the dryer. And then do the exact same thing once we're done with the drying because there's still maybe some hair or different lint that may be still stuck onto the towels. You want to make sure that those are clean and free of any of those hairs. Heaven forbid someone should see that. Or use a lint roller and then fold them nicely as you are training your team or prefer to have your guests see the towels. A good cycle should run you from a 30-minute wash to a drying about 45 minutes. You need to keep that in mind. And if you have one or two loads, hopefully that's all you have because that can be a good chunk of time while you're doing the cleaning on the side.
Do you recommend that Airbnb hosts have two sets of linens so that in case you got a quick turn and the linens are not done, you still have some for the new guests?
I actually recommend 3 sets. 3 sets is the best way to go about it because should you have some stains from blood or any kind of surprise, or if there's a tear in the linens, you want to make sure that you're always having pristine looking linens between towels and sheets on hand. So I do recommend 3 sets.
Do you recommend that one of those sets be available to the guests in the event that they stain them or something happens while they're staying there and they would like to change them themselves?
Truly depends. With those Airbnbs that may be 2 bedroom and below, I don't think it's really a problem to have that extra linen or sheets or towel available. We typically like to put out 2 sets of towels per guest and then always have at least one set of sheets. Should you have 2 queen beds, one at least one extra sheet out for the guests. But when you get to those bigger Airbnbs in the larger bedrooms, 4 bedrooms and above, I always recommend a locked maid closet where the maid or the owner have access to the closet and keep those extra linens there because they will just have at those linens and you'll be doing laundry for days.
So, what is your take on using a linen service versus having the house cleaner try to do it all while they're there on the quick turn?
Some of the major markets, you may be able to find a good partnership with a laundromat that's nearby that may be able to charge a discounted rate where you can just focus on the cleaning and you can just simply drop off your linens. I know here in Atlanta, the prices do range between 95 cents a pound up to about a dollar five per pound. You want to keep in that below $1 region, which a wash and fold that maybe a mom and pop may be able to price it around that for you. And of course, you will be able to find wholesale prices at a larger wash and fold that may be doing laundry for hotels or restaurants that they could offer it to you for as low as 75 or 65 cents per pound. Now, quality may not be there, just to let you know. If you are doing in volume, make sure that you know that they're just throwing in everything in those big machines that they have and they're not upholding the quality. They even let you know that. So the mom and pops, the local businesses where you can support their business, they will tend to make a little bit extra step in making sure the quality is upheld and stains are removed, hairs are not part of the final product. But at the same time, if you have a washer and dryer on hand and it actually is not 15 or so years old and it works well, it is worth the while to keep the laundry on site because you could be doing the laundry while you're doing the cleaning and it helps to cut down some of the time of the commute over to the laundromat. It also helps to cut down on timing. Believe it or not, if you're able to do those quick rapid cycles in the washing and then in the drying, and sometimes the cleaners just, I know for our team, they prefer to do the laundry. They want to make sure that there's no hair that comes back on their accountability.
Tell us about the hair. That seems to be an issue when it comes to rating and reviews.
Hair and bugs are always something of an occurrence. Hair is something that can be found on bathtubs, on linens, especially because the hair actually does get caught onto the fibers of the towel or in the linens. So you can go to the dollar store and just buy a lint roller. Those are super handy to have no matter if you're doing Airbnbs or just regular cleanings. I almost think that sometimes there's a trend going on here in Atlanta where people like to pull their own hair and put it on a pillow just to get a discount. No, that is a possibility. There are people out there that are always looking to get discounts.
And so, how do you overcome that? Do you take pictures before and after, or?
We do. We have some property management companies that we work for that actually have mini iPads on each location that they require us on site to go ahead and take photos upon arrival and then take photos upon leaving just to combat any kind of comments that would come back like that. Those properties that may not have an iPad, we're doing that on our side when we arrive to any property. Just collect your thoughts on what you're arriving on and provide evidence on what you're doing at the end.
That leads me to my next question, which is about staining of laundry, because a lot of times, like you said, they will use it for makeup or food or things like that. And then the towels are no longer white. And so, what do you recommend for stained laundry and linens at Airbnbs?
So the washcloths are the ones that get the most wear and tear, I think. And so easy for a lot of people to think that you could just throw it away when it actually becomes a really costly item. So to salvage those washcloths and hand towels that may be used for makeup removal or juice stain or wine stain, I recommend having the Oxy spray on hand. It's the Max Force. It's the extra strength. And that one is a miracle. I mean, even talking with some of my laundry mat partners, they even say that is probably their go-to for stain removal, and as well as Shout, it does a good job. But those spray stain removers, if you leave it on for a good 15 minutes before you throw it into the wash, and it has to be hot water that you're washing those linens, you could be pretty surprised at the end result. If you are seeing that you need to have an extra round of bleaching or whitening, so to speak, I recommend throwing a quarter or a half a cup of white vinegar that serves as like a fabric softener into the wash. And I recommend that more than the commercial softeners because the commercial softeners tend to get so absorbed into the fibers of the material that it takes a lot longer of a process to dry it. The white vinegar is natural, it's very light, it lifts up more of the stains while it's doing its job to soften the laundry.
Oh, you're a wealth of information. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I know that you answer a lot of questions for Airbnb hosts. Where can they find you either to hire you for your service there in Georgia or to get more information about your help with Airbnbs?
Sure, they can reach us at cleantucasa.com. It's clean and then tucasa.com. We kept it that way because we believe things are becoming more of a bilingual world. So anyway, we always welcome diversity.
Alrighty, and that is Vanessa Higgins with all kinds of tips that you're going to refer back to again and again as you do the laundry for your Airbnb.